Hello there, welcome back. Today I've got something fun planned for us. This is something I've really been wanting to do for a while and I just finally getting around to it. So for starters, Happy New Year. I know it's been a couple of days already. We're just starting a new year, 2025 finally, and so what I'd like to do today is actually play around with more color than usual. The last time that we hung out together during a live stream, this is not a live stream by the way, this is pre-recorded, we worked on this, so it had lots of color. It was a lot of fun, so I want to do something similar. But today the difference is, instead of working with pens, I'm going to be using these markers. So these are the Sharpie creative markers, and I've got the basic set. I think this set cost about $20. I'll provide a link in case any of you don't know what these are. But these markers have acrylic ink inside of them. So of course, if you want to do something like this, you don't have to have these markers. This is just if you happen to have them or you're interested in getting something like this, so you can see how you can use them to make lots of fun stuff. So that's what I'll be using today. Essentially, you can use any kind of paint or markers or anything you want, really. So how about we just get started? And here you can see what I was already working on. Let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. So this is what I already have. And I learned a lot as I was working on this. So let's start doing some of that over here on this side. And so you can see I already have a little bit of just some plain pink here. And how about I choose this kind of bluish color? It looks a little bit like an aqua. And so all I'm doing is I'm just on my page, just freely creating any kind of shapes that I want. And so for now, how about I just add these sort of leaf shapes here? It seems to be something that I go for a lot. So I can fill it in or not, it's okay. I'm just kind of leaving gaps here and there. I'm trying not to worry too much about the shapes that I'm creating and just kind of having fun feeling the way the paint comes out of the marker, just trying to enjoy it, you know? I think so much of what we do now is just so stressful that it's so important to actually play when we're doing this, to just have fun. How about I put a few circles here? Circles are always nice. Little ovals. Again, there's no plan here at all. I'm just looking at some empty spaces and essentially just filling them. So how about I create, I think over here I'd like to put some kind of swirl, just like a big one. Like that. How about that? Sounds pretty good, right? I'll make it a little wider. So right now I'm just working on my initial phase of this. I'll grab another, what's another pretty color? How about a different kind of blue? It's just a slightly different shade of blue. And so what I can do, just like I did before, I can add new shapes. So like right here, just start adding some new kind of leaf shapes here. I can add a few. Or the other thing that I can do, which is actually what I enjoy so much more, is to go around the edges. So like right here, and add a border to that one that I already made, just like that. So we're starting to layer these. I'll do it here as well. There's a new layer. Same thing with this big swirl. I'll add some blue to the outer edge of it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what's wonderful about working with paints, is they layer over each other very well and they don't get muddy as long as you give them a second to dry. So see, already looks very interesting. Here's another one right here. And I'll add, how about a blue around to this one? Why not? And I think as I go around, how about I add some blue in a few other spaces? About there. And I'm kind of just coloring. I'm trying to just have fun with it. It's like a big empty coloring page, just letting all sorts of interesting things happen. How about that right there? And if you have these, try to use them, or at least I try to use them like they're just like an actual paintbrush. It helps create some nice feathered kind of coloration like that. So that was blue. Let me try using some of this gray. So there's gray in this set here. It's a very light gray, so it's actually kind of nice to go in there. So what I can do here is sometimes in between the colors that I've already set up, I can create an extra kind of stripe. That's something I can do. Like right here, I can add some gray in between that aqua color and the blue. Over here I can add a line here. So notice I'm being very intuitive about it. I'm just finding a place where I can kind of highlight what's already there by going around its border. And then I'm just going to allow that line to continue and kind of connect with other shapes like that. So let me go in a little closer here so you can see what I'm talking about. So right here, I can connect these with a gray there, and maybe a gray here. And these shapes are all so random, so very, very random. Now let's say I switch to this, just kind of like a more, like an apple green almost. A little bit more on the yellow side. And I'll take it on the other side here and just add a line there. Add a line there. And like right here, I can continue adding more lines just on top of each other. They can overlap, it's fine. We're just playing, remember? I'm just playing around. So here I'm overlapping these as well. And then if I want to, I can fill in some spaces as well. I've been having a lot of fun doing that. Here I'm gonna go around this edge here. Let's see how that goes. There we go. That's pretty good. And I'll just continue to do that right here. How about we connect these here? I love that this is a soft brush on these. And so the way that I apply pressure can really help me make thick and thin lines. So that's really nice. So I'll back up just a little bit again so we can see the overall picture. And I'm going to continue grabbing more markers this way. So let's add a little bit here. That's pretty nice. Maybe around this pink, that might look nice. A little bit in here, since I did leave a white spot. Maybe around here. That might be nice. So you can see this is a pretty quick way to lay down some shapes. Kind of just allow your mind to create things. So I think something I'd like to continue is, you see here I have all these little, I wouldn't even know what to call them. I almost feel like they're somewhat like feathers. I don't know why. They look sort of feather-like to me this time. So let's add a few. Let's see about here. I'm going to add some orange. They look like these long droplets to me. So there's one. And I'll add another one here. They're kind of large. There we go. There's another one. How about we add another one over here on the other side? And a lot of these shapes look quite large at the beginning. Like right now. As far as compared to the size of my page. These look pretty big. But you'll notice that as you start adding more layers, you'll start getting more and more details in there, and that's a lot of fun. So how about here? These are all just really basic shapes. These kind of long droplets, some swirls, these kind of wedges, they're almost like leaves. Very, very intuitive, just basic shapes. Some circles or ovals are always nice. We can add some over here as well. Some circles and ovals. How about here? We can add another one of these over here. We don't have to be too delicate with it. This is obviously going to be a little different if you're using actual paints and a paintbrush. It might take just a little longer to use your brushes, but you can do this. You can do something like this. You can do this with regular markers too. It's a lot of fun. I know I've done it with markers before. I think that's probably where I first did it a long time ago. I'm switching back to this gray again. I realized that last time I didn't use it as much, so I want to actually go in here a few more times with the gray. Let's fill in this spot. I want you to notice that something that I'm avoiding right now is I'm avoiding using the black marker. I think that those of you who watch my channel more regularly, you know that I draw with pens a lot, and so I jump right in with a pen and I create a lot of line work. And then if I decide to, I might color in around the line work. But today, we're doing something opposite of that. Today what I'm doing is I'm laying down shapes and colors. And I will wait until the very, very end to use my black marker. That's what I'm going to do today. So that's what we're doing. Let me find another color. How about this pink? I really like this one. It's really pretty. So I'm going to add pink here. Right here. There we go. There's some pink. How about we add some right here? And I'll just come through in some of these areas. And like I said, the good thing is you can always cover over. It's okay if they lay on top of each other. Okay, probably over here I'm going to continue this color scheme here, like the orange with some of this sort of pink color, like a magenta. Okay. That looks pretty nice. And then I will add it over here. It's so surprising just how quickly this works up. But those of you who like to paint more often, you probably know already that some of these initial layers happen so quickly. You get so much coverage out of them. Okay, I'm going to set aside this pink. How about we grab, did we do orange? We certainly did. We did orange already. Okay. How about this purple? Oh gosh, let's use some purple now. This is a nice plum purple. It's pretty intense color. Let's try, I'm going to start laying over some of these here. And it's making a little bit of a noise here. It's making some good noise. So that's interesting. It has to do with how I'm adding pressure to it. So let me go here, like that. How about here? And again, if you feel like you made a mistake, because this is paint, you can just kind of go over it with another color once it dries. And everything is fine. I'll add this here. Right here. This is a really intense color. It's pretty dark, but it's so nice. It adds a lot of contrast. Okay, this is looking pretty nice. I'm liking it. Let's add something like this over here. I realize I've been sticking to some of the same shapes for a couple of minutes. So let's switch back to these kind of wedges, these leaf shapes. There's one. How about we add one right here? Why not? So far the basic technique is we make some basic shapes and then we find another marker and create borders around those. That's the basic technique we've been doing. So like this, and we just kind of find another one, go around the edge. And this has been pretty good so far. Now we're going to start layering just a little more. And as I layer, let me add a circle here, because I still have so much white space. Now the layering that I'm talking about is I'm going to do my best to find colors that are just a little lighter if I can, though I feel like I've used so many of them already. I've used quite a few. Let me use this one. This is not quite the lightest, but so I'm going to take another color. And I'm going to continue adding, like let's say right here, let me see if this is the same color. It might be the same one. No, it's slightly different. I'm just making little brush strokes to add a little bit of texture. That's all I'm doing. So like that. I can add little circles or little brush strokes or even dots. So like right here, I'm gonna tap it. Just having fun, you know. The markers already make it so easy for me to create shapes and colors. I might as well just go with it. Let me see if I can find a better color. Maybe the gray will help. Let's try that one. Where are you, my friend? Okay, so here's the gray one. And I'm going to get a little closer. So let's say in this area here, I can take the gray and just start making these little stripes inside. I know it's going to feel like, oh no, I'm ruining the colors that were already there. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. It's all good. Everything's fine. So I'm just adding just a little more interest, a little more texture. I can go around the edges of the shapes if I want, or I can just draw inside of them. See, like that. Or a circle like that to kind of break up the shape, like that. That's all I'm doing. And so right now, all this is doing is just adding a few more lines. I'll do it basically in all of these. It's just a reminder that when you're creating, it feels sometimes like everything has to be treated like a coloring book, but just play around with it. Hopefully you know what I mean when I say a coloring book. Sometimes you have to stay in the lines, you know? You have to stay inside of the lines and you have to make it all perfect. It has to all be exactly what it should be. Everything in its place, you know? But when you're playing around like this, I think it's important to kind of explore some things. And so that's what we're doing here. Just lay down some lines. Don't worry about if it's going to look beautiful or perfect. Just kind of gonna put some colors down. Nobody's gonna see it. You can show it to somebody if you want, but nobody has to see it. This is just for you. And if somebody sees it and they disapprove, well then that's fine. It's not for them anyway. I'm just adding little gray streaks. I'm not worrying about if they're perfect. They're just streaks. They're going in there. I'll put a few more up here. Kind of looks messy right now. I feel that I've heard people talk about that as the ugly stage of the painting. Kind of like that, thinking that it goes through phases, you know. So there we added a bunch of gray. Let's pan out and see how it looks. It's a bit messy still. It's fine. I'll add some more gray here. One thing that I like about these paints is that they are slightly kind of see-through. So even though it looks really intense while I'm laying it down from the marker, directly from the pen, when it dries, it softens up a little. And I like that. There we go. So really all that I did is by adding the gray, it just toned down the intensity of these colors. Because in my mind, they were a bit much. Just a bit too bright, just a bit too intense. And kind of creating these little streaks in there helps that. So let's go with this one now. This is a really light kind of aqua. And I'm going to again lay it on top. Get a little closer here. So like, let's say here, there's a lot of blues and greens going on. So I'm just going to create all these little streaks. So now I'm covering over some of that gray again, aren't I? Like that, no problem. Let's see how it looks in a few other places. Creating more texture, more dimension. Just having fun. Even over here where it's pink, I'll add some. Even in these pink ones and the orange ones, just a little bit. If I don't feel like putting a lot, I can just put a few lines. That's nice. I'll leave these alone. I think I'm okay with those like that. But I will add some here. Sometimes you will discover that some weird little thing you started doing is going to become something special for you. How about I add a circle here? Some of them can be neat and organized. Let's add circles, fill in some spaces. There we go. I think this was the one that I hadn't used, for sure. Let me add some over here. Just these little dashes, little lines. It's interesting if you decide to do this with just regular markers, or maybe you have alcohol markers or something like that. the quality will turn out different because of the way that the markers blend, especially like alcohol markers and such. So certainly it'll be fun if you decide to experiment with that. You're gonna get different results, but that's fun too. It's a lot of fun. There we go, nice big one here to connect these. Let's see, what else can I lay over? Maybe over here somewhere. So I feel like this looks best with the other greens and blues. Again, I'm doing it and putting down the lines messy on purpose. Very much on purpose. How about a little bit here with this purple? That'll look nice. Very messy. How about here with the gray? Oh, that's very nice. Okay, so let's do that. I like that. This blue with this gray looks quite nice. There we go. Oop, got a little bit on my hand. You have to give it a minute so it dries. Okie doke. I feel like that's probably enough for now. How about I add a little bit here? This is always a difficult spot to work on, is right where the pages meet. It's a little difficult, but we can do it. We can do a lot of things. Here. Oh, this is such a pretty color. I love this one a lot. It's this one really is an aquamarine. It's hard when you have to compare them sometimes. Okay. And then I know I have space on the other page too, but I don't want to worry too much about it, even though I know I'm going to be tempted to come back and just add little pieces like that. Okay. And so since I'm here already, I'm going to go in and just kind of find some spots and do this again, where I just kind of lay them over each other like that, over the edge. So here. So I'm trying to remember to kind of go back and add more. Add more in a few spaces. Let's see where else. I have this big area right here. I think I'd like to put something there. Maybe some orange. Some of this lighter orange will be nice right there. It's funny that I have a red marker here as well, but I'm just not fond of red. There's a chance I might just not use it at all. I've noticed that. For some reason, red is not my color. So let's fill this area in with some orange. I like that. That. Maybe put some around this one. So like I said, don't worry about how they lay over. It's a bit of a mess at first. It's a fun mess. It's a good old-fashioned mess. Anything else? Maybe some of these here. Just have fun with it like that. Sometimes I go over these, but not entirely. So right there was kind of like a partial circle. It wasn't a whole circle. This is actually filling up pretty nicely. Any other spots? When I can't find a spot, it means that's a good time. If I just don't know where to go next, it's a good time to switch, find another pen. So that's what I'm going to do. And so I think I've gone far enough into this that this is a good time to start using the black marker, finally. It's been about 20 minutes or so. So I will finally begin using the black marker if I can find it. Gray, this one, I think. Yeah, for these markers, it shows on the cap. There's a little bit of color on the cap. So what I can do here, what I can finally do here is, as you can see on these over here, I'm going to start outlining the shapes that I want to keep. And as I start outlining, then I can start painting over them with white. So how about I choose this central area right here. And what I'll do is, it seems like I think this area with the purple, I want to keep it. So I'll just take my black, make a nice, bold, black shape around the whole thing. And sometimes I can make these, I can make these lines like this that just stop right there. So sorry about that. I think I was off camera for a second. Silly me. So I'm just outlining it like that. There we go. That's one. And I'm just going to go around looking for some shapes. So there's a bunch here that I want to outline. And I'm not going to worry about where things already were. I can use some of what's there, but if I lose something, that's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. So right here, how about here? There's this long shape here, like that. So then I'm not going to worry about it. Like that. If there's some element there that I really loved and I felt like it kind of vanished, I'll bring it back by painting over it again and again until I get what I want. That's what's nice about acrylic paint. So there are some shapes right there. Let's do these here. I still like these, so I'm just going to go over them like that. All the way over here. There we go. So that's pretty good. And I'll finally outline some of these. I think I want to just go around this sort of aqua color. Like this. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. And I'll keep it like that. What I'm thinking I'm just going to do is fill this area with black. Maybe make little colored dots on top of that when I'm done. That one. It's so satisfying, just really quickly making these nice big outlines. I want to keep this whole shape together with this one that has all the green and gray. So I'm going to outline it like this, just like that. I love this part, it's so fast. And I'm going to keep these with this line just partially out like that. What I'm going to do after I'm done outlining some shapes with this marker, just like that. The next time I use black, I will be using just a pen, only a pen. Since this marker's so big, you know, I don't want to get carried away using it too much, because oh boy, will I get carried away. And so it's a nice change of pace if I can kind of control that. There we go, like that. Again, I'm not being too careful about where my lines end up. I'm just having fun letting them land, just letting it happen, I guess, like that. Maybe like that. That's not bad. And I'm also appreciating that there are some spaces of white left, and I can always play around with those just so they add some nice contrast to all these colors. There's so much color. Okay, there we go. That's pretty good. So you can see it's already changing this so much. Just the fact that now we have some black to contrast against it. It doesn't have to be terribly delicate. It doesn't have to be terribly well thought out. There we go, like that. So see, these lines aren't going all the way to the end. That's always a possibility. Here, like that. I know I have all this area over here to add, but I'd like to just jump forward to show you the next step. I've been doing this a lot, so it's a lot of fun. Let me find it. I'm going to start using the white one now. So this is white paint. And again, it's going to look very, very stark. The white's going to look very white, and you might think, oh no, I went too far. So let's do this. So here in this large shape here, I want to kind of create some highlights here. It seems pretty intense, but let's just let it dry and see what happens. So I'm just going to add highlights using the white. There we go. In the center, or where I think these shapes might be bulging a little, so like this long one, I'll add just one line like that. And now you're thinking, oh, but I'm covering over all those colors. Trust me, it's not going to get rid of the colors. It's just adding a little bit of a lighter spot, like that. Just a bunch of lines. Maybe right here I'll add one white line. can be a bit scary, I think. When I tried to start doing this, I just wasn't sure at all. I thought, oh no, I'm just gonna make a mess. And maybe you will. I know I did. Sometimes it's a mess. It's okay. It's okay to make a mess. So see right there, I added white to create a highlight, and I'll add one big white line going this way, just like that. Just like that. It's acrylic paint, it's fine. There we go. And on all these shapes that I created, I'm adding white somewhere in the center, like this. It can even be a little messy, it's okay. See this big shape here? I'm going to add some white lines. And I'm staying away from the edges. Just staying in the center of the shape. Like that. Let's say right here. Here, here. I'm being really quick about it. It doesn't, I've recognized I don't even have to be very careful. Here's this big one here. Just a bunch of white lines. Just to the center. Like that. And let's see, I have these guys over here. You can probably already see the change that's happened in the depth here. I'm hoping you're able to see it from the camera's point of view. As we added the black and then added the white, it deepens any perception of shadows and also brings up any perceived light spots. Check that out. It already looks different, doesn't it? The white is already making some areas rise. All right, so that's a good start. And now what I'm gonna do next, let's let some of that white. I will go over it one more time, actually, to create more of that depth. While the white settles, let me grab a pen. And I've got these pens. Is this the right size for me? So this is an 05. It's essentially a micron pen, so the ink in here is permanent. Now, unfortunately, working over acrylic paint can be a little bit of a hassle because it takes things a little bit longer to dry. But we will be patient when we do this. So let's go in here and I will find some of the edges of these shapes. So let's say right here, this is a shape and I would like to maybe outline it a little. That's fine. I can continue outlining it. And then right here, I'm going to add some lines. There we go. Just a couple lines. Let's do that to this one. A couple lines. I can add the outline if I want or not. See, this is the thing about the ink. When you're working on top of acrylic, it can take a little longer for it to dry. There we go. So just some lines. Add more depth. I can do it over here as well. Just like that. It'll add depth, and I'm just going to go around all of my shapes and I will add lines this way. So here's an edge. I'll work inward. And of course I'm playing around, so I can go around and kind of draw around some of these. Create some little designs here. You know, we're doing this for fun, so let's have some fun. There we go. I'm going to add some little designs here just because I just want to. There we go, like that. And so everywhere, even if all I do is add one line, that's enough to create some depth. I can add some right here, so I'm just going to add a few. Like that. And I am trying to flick my pen just because I really enjoy it when the lines are tapered off that way. So I'm just flicking it. Like that. There we go. So notice already we're getting so much more depth. Lots of good depth here, making it a lot more interesting. Let me add a few circles here. Why not? Okay, just a few designs here and there. So there you can see it's adding depth. It's starting to kind of match up with what's over here. It's doing much better. So as we start making it match, let's find other shapes here. How about these right here? We can just add lines to them like that. You'll probably notice that I'm going from the right side. Sorry, that's not the right side. From the left side of this particular page towards the right because I don't want to put my hand on it and end up smearing it. So I'm going to do my best to just stay on that side. If I need to come back, I won't do it. I'll wait for the ink to dry. So let's see. We can do this one right here. Like that. Adding depth. All it takes is just a couple of lines. Like that. I missed a couple of spots up here. I mean, I didn't necessarily miss them, but I could always come up here. Add some little designs. Little lines and stripes around these, on these shapes. That's always nice. Let's see. There's this shape here, and there was some black outlining here, so I think I can put some lines here. Flick my pen. There we go. So just like that. So these are some techniques that I normally use when I'm drawing. It's just I'm applying them now to this painting. If I were doing some pretty legit or some very legitimate painting techniques, I wouldn't use black. I might use some kind of a purple or some kind of muted tone to create shadows. But I really like the stark contrast here between just these vibrant colors and just straight black. I love that so much. I know I'm not the only one. A lot of other people like that. So see, there we go, some lines. A couple of lines right here. Just very high contrast. I kind of missed this spot here, so let me rotate because it's going to be a little hard to create those curves. So I'm going to go a little slow. Like that. It's always right there where the page... There we go. It's a little hard. Gotta go a little slower here. That's not bad. There we go, like that. Good enough. I'll finish a few more here. It works up so quickly. So satisfying. Sometimes I'm afraid to use colors and I don't know why. And I've got all these lovely pens and color pencils and just so many things here. It'll be fun playing around with color pencils again soon. It's just... I just gotta pick one. That's all I have to do. A few little details here and there. Let's see. I could even start filling in. So let's say I add some lines here and there like this. And because this is a fun project and you can do anything you want, anything at all, you can start doodling inside of there if you want. Like this. You can doodle in there, that's not a problem. Have some fun. Just like that. And so that's often what I do is in these little extra spaces, I make little circles. Or we can make little spirals like this. Make it look nice. Just like that. And just fill it in. Play around. I think this is usually my favorite way to fill spaces, is just kind of add these little things like that. Start looking pretty good. Looking good, looking good. Okay, I think I'll leave that orange one alone, but I'll add a few lines here. Hopefully you're able to see just how much of a difference it makes when you add the black and you add the white. But leave it till the end. And not that it's any kind of rule, of course. There are no rules when we do this. Sometimes if I feel like it just needs something different, I will reassess and then I'll come back and start adding colors again. So after I do this, it's perfectly fine. Go back in there, do it again. Add more blue, add more pink, add more whatever it is that you really wanted out of this. maybe you think there's too much orange, we'll start covering it over with another color or something like that, you know? Just like that. So it looks pretty good. It's already giving it so much dimension. It's giving it so much more. So I'm going to go back now that some of this has started to dry. Let me check it real quick. Oh, that's not bad. How about this one? A little bit. Okay, it's not too bad. So I'm going to delicately go in with the white, and I'm not going to add as much as I did last time. I'm going to add just a little bit less, but I'm going to apply it to the same places I had already applied white. So like right here, just a few little dabs right in the middle. Just a little bit right in the middle. This is going to do the same thing again, but it's going to give me just some parts that are just a little brighter. Just like that. So here, just one dab, one dab. That's basically it. Is just a little spot in the middle that's going to be just a little brighter. Like that. And it's very subtle, but I think it works. If I were working with ink washes, it would be pretty similar. If you like to use inks, you just come back and lay down a little bit more, and it does the thing. Just like that. I'll add more here. I know we haven't gone around here with the black yet, but it's ready for the white. So like I said, right in the middle. And here. I never laid down any white at all, so this is a good time to add some. Some painting. Just messing around, it's so much fun. There we go. So already you can see, or hopefully you can see, I missed a little spot right here. I love being able to go over everything. You know, just again and again and again, and add more texture each time. It's always so much fun. So I think that's it for the white, and I am going to let this dry now, and I will go over some more of the highlights with the pens and just kind of finish up a few more details, and I'll show you in a little bit how that looks. Okay then, so I did let this dry for almost a whole day. I got pretty busy and wasn't able to come back to finish it, but as you can see, I did go in and added quite a bit of black in those empty spaces, and then even had some fun just adding some dots and just playing around. So I think it looks pretty good right now. I as usual, I thought about maybe filling in all of this white with just some black paint, but I figured, no, you know what? It actually looks fine like this. I know that sometimes I get carried away, and not that getting carried away is a bad thing. It's just something I do. I feel like I end up finishing these, and then that very last stage that I'll think to do one more thing, which in this case would be to add black all the way around the border. And that one thing takes forever and just kind of takes all the fun out of it. So I'm thinking today I will avoid that and just enjoy what happened here. So here you have both sides. I can still see that they're slightly different. So this part that I had done first, and then this part that I did with you for the most part, they do have a slightly different quality, and that's going to happen every time. So again, I do hope that you had a chance to try some of these techniques out and just play with your paints or with your markers and create something fun like this. So I hope that you're having fun. I really do hope you're having fun. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a good day, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.